Mexico is famous for its beautiful beaches, vibrant festivals, and rich culture. But beyond the sun and celebrations, there's a darker, spine-chilling side filled with haunted places and eerie legends. Let's dive into the haunting tale of La Isla de las Muñecas, or the Island of the Dolls. This creepy spot lies in the canals of Xochimilco, south of Mexico City. It's a small, remote island filled with hundreds of weather-beaten dolls, some missing eyes, limbs, or heads. They hang from trees and structures, creating a chilling scene. Many people find it deeply unsettling, and it's one of Mexico's spookiest attractions. The story of the Island of the Dolls begins with a man named Don Julian Santana Barrera. He was the island's caretaker and the man behind its eerie decorations. According to legend, one day he discovered the body of a young girl who had drowned in the canal. Her death shook him deeply, and he believed her spirit lingered on the island. Shortly after her death, Don Julian found a doll floating in the canal. He took it as a sign and hung the doll on a tree, hoping it would soothe her spirit. But he didn't stop there. Don Julian continued to find more dolls, some washed up from the canal, others collected from trash. Over time, he covered the island with dolls, hanging them from branches, placing them in huts, and letting them rot in the open air. Locals and visitors started noticing strange things. Some claimed the dolls' eyes followed them. Others swore they heard whispers or saw the dolls moving. Don Julian, too, believed he could hear the spirit of the girl, especially at night. He kept adding to his collection for over 50 years, until he too died under mysterious circumstances. Strangely, his body was found in the same spot where he claimed to have seen the girl's body all those years before. The Museo de la Muerte, or Museum of Death, is one of the most spine-chilling spots in Mexico. Located in Aguascalientes, this museum is dedicated entirely to the theme of death, a concept deeply rooted in Mexican culture. The museum's origins date back to the early 20th century, when Aguascalientes began holding annual festivals for the Day of the Dead. Over time, the idea of a museum dedicated to death took hold, and in 1997, the Museo de la Muerte was officially opened. Its purpose? To preserve and display artifacts and artwork that reflect Mexican views on death. These views are both respectful and eerily accepting of the unknown. Inside, the museum's rooms are filled with skeletons, skulls, coffins, and altars dedicated to the dead. There are ancient artifacts from Aztec and Mayan civilizations, as well as paintings and sculptures depicting the afterlife. One of the most unsettling exhibits is a collection of items said to be cursed. Staff members have reported strange occurrences in the museum, displays that shift overnight, the sudden sound of whispers, or cold spots in certain rooms. Some believe that spirits are attached to the items, lingering within the museum's walls. For many, the museum is not just an educational experience, but an encounter with the supernatural. The Posada del Sol is a grand yet crumbling structure in Mexico City. It was once meant to be a beautiful hotel, designed by architect Fernando Saldana Galvan in the 1940s. Fernando had a grand vision for the Posada del Sol. He wanted to create a high-end hotel that would capture the elegance and culture of Mexico City. He wanted it to be a place of beauty and art, with large courtyards, intricate murals, and beautiful stonework throughout. As construction progressed, obstacles kept piling up. Financial struggles worsened, and soon the project ran out of money. Work halted, leaving the hotel incomplete. Eventually, he took his life in the hotel's courtyard in 1945 under the weight of insurmountable debts. According to legend, he cursed the property before he died and bid it to never be inhabited. Allegedly, the ghost of Saldana still haunts the lonely building. After his death, no one took responsibility for completing the hotel. Today, it's known for the mysteries and ghost stories that surround it. One of the most chilling legends here involves a young girl's spirit. People believe a girl disappeared inside the hotel many years ago. They said she was sacrificed in a ritual, her body hidden somewhere deep within the walls. Locals claim to hear her crying at night, a sound that echoes through the empty hallways. But the girl's ghost isn't the only one people report. Security guards, construction workers, and the few brave visitors who've entered describe eerie encounters. Some report feeling an icy grip on their shoulders. Others see shadows move or hear whispers even though they're alone. Doors slam shut, lights flicker, and a heavy silence seems to press down on anyone who stays too long. We've all heard of the Bermuda Triangle, but did you know that Mexico has its very own version of it? The Zona del Silencio, or Zone of Silence, is a mysterious stretch of desert that has fascinated scientists and paranormal investigators for decades. The The story of the Zone of Silence began in the 1970s when a U.S. missile accidentally crashed in the area. During the search and recovery operation, teams noticed that radios and communication devices stopped working. Compasses spun wildly, and any kind of signal seemed to vanish into thin air. The discovery baffled experts and drew attention to this bizarre area. Locals have their own eerie tales about the zone. They say clocks stop ticking, radios emit only static, and travelers lose their sense of direction as if an invisible force takes control. There are stories of strange lights in the sky, flickering just above the horizon. Some people even claim to see UFOs. Scientists have tried to explain the zone's anomalies, suggesting that it's rich in iron and magnetic minerals, which could interfere with signals. Others point out that the area lies on the same latitude as the Bermuda Triangle and Egypt's Great Pyramids, a fact that fuels theories about natural energy fields. Despite scientific attempts to explain it, the zone remains an enigma. Adventurers and researchers still flock to the site, eager to witness the strange phenomena for themselves. Many leave with stories of magnetic disturbances, odd encounters, or a powerful feeling of unease. In Monterrey, Mexico, there's an eerie, unfinished structure known as La Casa de los Tubos, or the House of the Tubes. The building's strange design stands out, cylindrical and oddly shaped, giving it an unnatural appearance. This was meant to be a home unlike any other, designed by an ambitious architect in the 1970s for a family with a wheelchair-bound daughter. The tubes were intended to allow her to move easily between floors, creating an accessible open space. But the house's construction was plagued by misfortune. As the story goes, during the building process, a young girl, said to be the future resident, tragically fell from an unfinished floor and died. Some versions of the legend say she lost control while exploring the house in her wheelchair, tumbling down through the exposed structure. Others claim construction workers also met similar fates. After these tragedies, construction stopped, leaving the home abandoned. Locals soon started reporting strange occurrences around the unfinished house. Visitors say they feel a chilling presence as soon as they approach. The structure stands silent and empty, yet people claim to hear the laughter of children or footsteps echoing through the empty halls. Some have even reported seeing a girl in a wheelchair staring out from the upper floors. The legend grew, and so did the warnings. Many in Monterrey believe the house is cursed. Stories circulate of people who tried to explore the house, only to experience sudden dizziness or intense feelings of fear. Paranormal investigators and thrill seekers have visited, but even they admit the place feels heavy. Cemeteries often hold mysteries and tales of the unknown. Many believe they are natural hotspots for hauntings. One of Mexico's most infamous cemeteries is the Santa Paula Cemetery in the city of Guadalajara. Known as one of the most haunted places in the country, it's a site where legends and eerie stories come alive, especially after dark. The haunting of Santa Paula Cemetery begins with one of its most tragic tales, that of Nachito, a young boy who died under mysterious circumstances. According to legend, Nachito was terrified of the dark. The story goes that his fear was so intense that he needed a constant light while he slept. But one night, his parents accidentally left him alone in a dark room. By morning, he was found dead, having passed away from pure fright. Nachito's grave quickly became a spot of strange events. Each morning, the cemetery caretakers would find his coffin mysteriously moved out of its tomb. They'd put it back, only to find it outside again the next day. People began to believe that Nachito's spirit couldn't bear to be trapped in the darkness underground. To honor his memory and his fear, they built his tomb above ground, with candles and lights to keep the darkness away. Even now, visitors bring offerings to Nachito's grave, candles, toys, and sweets to comfort his restless spirit. Many claim to feel a chill when they approach his tomb. Others report hearing faint sounds, like a child crying softly or a voice calling out. Some say they've even seen a small figure running among the tombstones. Which one of these haunted spots would you like to visit on your next trip to Mexico? Let us know in the comments below.